Undoubtedly, there is now a new phase of momentum, a momentum of meetings convened between the 8 member states, which is actually a quantum leap in the region. Specifically, that this summit comes in synchronization with the eruption of a lot of tumultuous regional and international events. And so that made it necessary for the 8 member states of the D8 summit to convene and to consolidate their economic powers, specifically that they have a lot of great economic statures, and they have a total GDP of $8 trillion in total. In fact, there were a number of initiatives ratified today aiming to establish a comprehensive connected network between the 8 member states in order to foster the use of renewable energy and means of transportation and different innovation practices. In fact, the 8 member states wish to blur the lines between their territories by establishing more consolidated cooperation. In fact, this group holds a strong economic stature. The population of the 8 member states, in fact, comprises 14% out of the total global population. And Egypt, through this summit, announced its readiness to invest in infrastructure and to share its different national expertise, like that related to Haya Karima or Decent Life initiative. As well, Egypt offered to pass down its expertise in the field of youth SMEs and innovation to the rest of the member states. As well, new initiatives were unveiled relating to the convening of ministers of health from the 8 member states in order to foster the pharmaceutical industries in the 8 member states, and as well the preferential agreement ratification between the 8 member states is something quite important, because the number of the figures of trade between the 8 member states right now is, I would say, meager relative to the developments happening in the global markets.
Okay, Dr. Wafaa, President Abdel El Sisi has unveiled several initiatives aimed at fostering economic growth and innovation among the 8 member states. How important are these initiatives from your own perspective and your narrative, and what impact could they have on intra-D8 cooperation?
Undoubtedly, Egypt pays due care to human resource development, and Egypt gives specific care to its youth. Egypt is a young country, in fact, with 67% of its population from the youth, and so vertical and horizontal growth were very important for Egypt to be tackled in tandem. In fact, for instance, the youth that studied in the presidential program were able to advance a lot of economic practices, as well the decent life, as well as the presidential program, as well as other initiatives, are all working in tandem in order to foster national economy and as well to advance digitization in different domains of life in the Egyptian state. And the Egyptian president, in fact, has been quite innovative in his ways, since he gives due care to the youth and to engage the youth in the national economy channels and in socio-economic practices under the auspices of the Egyptian presidency as well. In fact, the president of Egypt is right now mapping some kind of a road for the youth in order to find a bright future for them in the midst of the tumultuous socio-economic and geopolitical situations that
Dr. Wafaa,
Egypt from right now. Dr. Wafaa?
What role do you think the ratification of the D8 preferential trade agreement will play in increasing intra-regional trade? Are there any specific industries that stand to benefit the most?
Of course, Egypt adopts specific subjects, among which is the achievement of integrated, comprehensive economic growth. And one of the sub-subjects of this pillar is the renewable energy subject and the infrastructure subject. In fact, the infrastructure subject specifically has peculiar pillars that Egypt is trying to tackle, as it is now trying to counter climate change or to adapt to climate change.
Okay, Dr. Wafaa, because I want to get the most out of your knowledge, of course. As for Cairo Declaration approved by member states, how important is this document and how effective could it be?
In fact, there has to be incentivizing packages between the member states relative to customs tariffs between the member states. There has to be, in fact, a road map that can be operationalized throughout the term of the President Abdel Fattah Sisi's presidency, because he has been given due care, of course, to the trade subject and the customs tariff subject specifically. And right now we can see that the 8 member states are actually prioritizing intra-trade and matters relating to supply chains deceleration. In fact, through the partnership of this group, Egypt is trying to increase vertical and horizontal complementarity between the member states. And right now, Egypt is trying, in fact, to